igamije kugaragaza aho urwego rw'amagaciro rugeze by'umwihariko rero ni igikorwa gitangizwa mu kanya gato na nyakubahwa Minisitiri w'Intebe Dr Justin Nsengiyumva. Hanyuma rero televiziyo Rwanda ikaba ihababera ikabagezaho uyu muhango live. By'umwihariko rero njye basuza nitwa Placide Nyinshuti ariko ndi kumwe na mugenzi wanjye ni
Gateteri Rafiki.
Yego Rafiki waramutse neza.
Waramutse neza Placide.
Yego nari mbivuze muri make ko hagiye kubera gutangiza ku mugaragaro icyumweru cyahariwe ubucukuzi ariko by'umwihariko turifuza kumenya uyu munsi uteye ute niki twakwitega ndetse kandi tunakomerezaho n'indi minsi igeze kuri ine iki gikorwa kizabo.
Urakoze cyane Placide nk'uko bivuze ni icyumweru Kigali icyumweru kirekire ariko kizaba kirimo n'ibikorwa byinshi ntikibaye kirekire ku bw'amasaha ahubwo ni kirekire ku bw'ibikorwa bizakiberamo kuko Rwanda Mining Week iberamo ibikorwa byinshi birimo ibiganiro nk'uko bivuze birimo guhuza abantu cyangwa se byitwa deals ibikorwa by'ubucuruzi ariko by'umwihariko kuri uyu munsi wa mbere mu kanya gato nyine nk'uko bivuze Minisitiri w'Intebe Dr Justin Nsengiyumva araza kuba afungura iki gikorwa mu buryo bw'umwihariko hanyuma gitangire muri ibyo bikorwa rero biri butangire uyu munsi harimo iryo murikabikorwa warukomojeho hakabamo kandi no kuganira ibyitwa panel discussions aho baza kuba baganira ku ngingo zirimo ikoreshwa rya AI cyangwa se ikoreshwa ry'ikoranabuhanga mu bucukuzi cyangwa se n'akamaro k'ubucukuzi muri iryo koranabuhanga. Murabizi yuko imodoka zikoresha amashanyarazi zikeneye iyo AI ariko zinakeneye amabuye y'agaciro kugira ngo iryo koranabuhanga rishoboke. Haraza kuba kandi nanone gutembera muri ibyo bikorwa biri bumurikwe aho amakompanyi menshi atandukanye akora ubucukuzi hano mu Rwanda akora amabuye acukura y'agaciro atandukanye aza kuba agaragaza ibyo acukura ese babitunganya bate kugira ngo bigezwe ku isoko. Ariko nanone igikomeye iyi nama ihuje abantu bagera ku 2,000 ni abantu benshi ariko si abantu bose babonetse bose n'abantu bafite bahuriye n'ubucuruzi ubucukuzi ishoramari mu bijyanye n'amabuye y'agaciro. Aha rero hari ibikorwa bigari byinshi cyane aho muri rusange kuri uyu munsi wa mbere duhere ku munsi wa mbere hari ugufungura hakaba ibyo biganiro biza guhuza abatandukanye hakaba kandi ndetse no kuza kuvuga noneho ngo ese ahazaza h'ubucukuzi ni he hameze hati haragana he kuko ujya wumva abantu baguye mu birombe bapfuye mu birombe ese izi riske cyangwa se ibibazo byakumirwa bite. Uwo ni umunsi wa mbere Placide.
Wenda ngaho ubikomojeho by'umwihariko insanyamatsiko y'iki gikorwa cya Rwanda Mining Week 2025 ni kurebera hamwe uko ubucukuzi bwakorwa harebwa amabuye afite agaciro cyangwa se amabuye y'ingenzi twakwita amabuye y'ubwenge ariko kandi haribandwa cyane uburyo hacukurwa ariko bitabangamiye ibidukikije kuko wari ubivuze uburyo bwa kera bwakorwaga bwangizaga ibidukikije ariko bitewe n'ikoranabuhanga ndetse n'ibindi bikorwa bisigaye biteye imbere muri urw'ubucukuzi ikigamijwe no kugira ngo habe gucukura ariko nanone ribangamire urwego rw'ibidukikije.
Urabivuze uti intego tuyishyize mu cyongereza kugira ngo yumvikane uko bayiteguye ngo minerals for a smarter and greener future. Ni ugucukura biteza imbere rya koranabuhanga twavugaga cyangwa se by'ingirakamaro ariko nanone bitangiza ibidukikije bishobora ibidukikije n'abantu barimo bibungabunga ibidukikije. Yego hanyuma rero mu biza kuganirwaho kuri uyu munsi wa mbere harimo ko baza kuvuga cyane cyane ku bijyanye n'uburyo hakoreshwa ibijyanye n'amarobo mu gucukura byitwa ngo robotics on smart mining. Ni ikoreshwa ry'ikoranabuhanga ryisumbuyeho kuko uyu munsi hari aho ubucukuzi bukorwa ariko bugakorwa mu buryo bukomatanyije uburyo bwa gakondo bukomatanyije n'uburyo bw'ikoranabuhanga akoreshwa amamashini ku rundi ruhande hakongera hakanakoreshwa abantu. Barashaka ko byaba ikoranabuhanga ryuzuye kugira ngo hanirindwe za riske zo kwangiza ibidukikije ndetse no kuba hagira impanuka zabamo muri rusange. Hanyuma umunsi wa kabiri
wenda tutaragera ku munsi wa kabiri icyo twabwira abadukurikiye nuko mu bantu 2,000 biri hano harimo abashoramari barenga 100. Muri abashoramari rero harimo abaturutse hanze y'igihugu ariko kandi n'abandi barimo hano imbere mu gihugu mu rwego kugira ngo abo bashoramari harimo abasanzwe bafite ishoramari imbere mu gihugu niba ngombwa babe banaryongera ariko ikigamijwe no gukurura abandi bashyashya kugira ngo uru rwego rw'ubucukuzi rukomeze rushyirwaho amafaranga ariko kandi runatanga umusaruro kuko ni ibiganiro bigamije kugira ngo hatezwe imbere umusaruro uturuka mu bucukuzi cyane cyane ko n'intego ya leta cyangwa se intego ya guverinoma y'imyaka 5 kugeza 29 u Rwanda nibura rurifuza kwinjiza cyangwa se kohereza mu y'agaciro ko akarwinjiza amadovize abarirwa kuri miliyari ibihumbi 2 n'igice kimwe. Ni intego rero igomba kugerwaho ari uko abashoramari bari hano barenga mu ijana ndetse n'abandi bisumbuyeho bagomba kuza bagashora imari, ubucukuzi bugakorwa mu buryo bugezweho, bukakorwa mu buryo bwa gakondo, bwo umusaruro uziyongera, nabwo iyo ntego izagerwaho. Wenda wari ugikomeje
wenda nari kubwira ni waruvuza abashoramari barenga ijana bahuriye ahangaha, ariko hari nanone hari za kompanyi zitandukanye zikora mu bucukuzi, hari abakora mu nzego za leta bose batahuriye n'ubucuruzi bw'amabuye y'agaciro no gucukura amabuye y'agaciro, hari kandi abashakashatsi kuko kugira ngo amabuye aboneke
barashaka mu nyemerere umushyitsi mukuru akaba hageze akabageza mu Kigali Convention Center nyakubahwa Minisitiri w'Intebe Dr. Justin Nsengiyumva ahageze. Mutwemerere tubagezeho ko umuhango ugiye gukurikiraho 5 kuri televiziyo Rwanda.
You may be seated. Right Honorable Prime Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Mwaramtse. It is my greatest honor to welcome you to the 8th edition of Rwanda Mining Week. Murakazaneza. The theme for this year is Minerals for a Smarter and Greener Future. My name is Jackie Lumbasi, and it is a great honor for me to be your MC for today. Now, I don't know if it's only in Africa, but often when you mention the word mining, the first reaction is not always positive. Has that happened to you? It has happened to me. You're likely to see a frown, followed by assumptions, a little bit of negativity, and a few not so pleasant images. But that is exactly why this week is exciting. Over the next few days, we have an opportunity to replace that frown with a smile and to replace the misconceptions with facts. While preparing for this event, I spoke to several people working in the field, and one thing came through very clearly. Rwanda's mining sector today looks nothing like it did more than 20 years ago. The progress is there for all to see. The systems are stronger, and the opportunities are expanding. This is the week to unpack all that. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in Rwanda, we welcome our visitors with music, dance, and celebration. Please help me welcome on stage Inganzo Ngari.
Muchanya mure mucheshi virore.
Abashitsi bahire murakarama, mwicare mugwe neza murakarama. Abashitsi bahire murakarama, mwicare mugwe neza murakarama. Iyo tubakiranye ubwuzu murakarama, dufite n'urugwiro we murakarama. Abashitsi bahire murakarama, mwicare mugwe neza. Murakarama, turatarabana namwe murakarama.
Rwanda rwatubyaye nyenye twegamyeho ishema ryawe ntirinyuka i Rwanda rwema rubaye ubukombe iyo abagore bazana yese bagore iyo abagore yenda bakunda ibihangange yenda bakunda amarongo yenda shekerwa nebejana yenda bakunda no mu gitaramo yenda bakunda bamayengezi yenda gahunda yenda
Ladies and gentlemen, let's appreciate Inganzo Ngari. Our guest of honor, ladies and gentlemen, to officially welcome us to this Mining Week and open this day. Please join me as I invite Alice Uwase, CEO of Rwanda Mining Board, for her remarks.
Right, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Ministers, senior government officials, members of the diplomatic corps, distinguished international delegates, partners in mining sector, and distinguished guests, welcome to Rwanda Mining Week. It's a great honor to be here today for the 8th edition of the Rwanda Mining Week. We are pleased to host you such a great gathering of leaders, investors, mining professionals, innovators, community representatives from across Rwanda and the African continent and worldwide. Thank you very much for being here. Your presence here is a strong affirmation of our shared commitment to building a mining sector that is responsible, competitive, and future-ready. Whether you arrived here by gas-powered or electrical vehicle or by using your phone, your GPS, please remember it's from mining. We are here to discuss the importance of minerals in our daily lives, and often people forget about it. You can't manufacture minerals, they are from our planet Earth. It was a blessing to have them in our soil. So we are very mindful on how we practice and how we extract and how we apply them in our daily lives. Mining sector in Rwanda has undergone a significant transformation from early geological surveys to artisanal beginnings, now to a modern and diversified mining landscape. We are advancing towards a mechanized mineral extraction, on-site beneficiation, as well as advanced value addition, involving refining facilities for gold, tantalum, and tin, already operational in Rwanda, which is not the case for most of our country in the neighboring region. So we are also encouraging additional investment into value addition as we are trying to position the mining sector as a main contributor to the economy of Rwanda. We are working hard to promote a mining sector that creates value, attracts responsible investment, upholds environmental sustainability, contribute meaningful to the Rwanda economic transformation, and also the development of the next generation of technology and green solutions. To our esteemed international investors, technology providers, financiers, development partners, we thank you for your trust, your expertise, and your continued collaboration. Your partnership has played a vital role in shaping the growth trajectory of Rwanda mining sector. To our local, our dear mining operators, our main mineral traders community, we count on you and you remain the foundation of this industry. Your hard work and resilience are the reason we can speak of progress today. However, to unlock the vast potential of our mining sector, we have to deepen our investment in technology and geoscientific knowledge. That's why research and skills development play a critical role in shaping Rwanda modern extractive industry, and the progress we see in mining today is the result of a collaboration with academia, producing highly skilled, market-ready professionals in mining engineering, geology, metallurgy, oil and gas, environmental sciences, and emerging technologies. In this regard, I call on each of you to join hands with us in this continuing journey to build a mining sector that is inclusive, transparent, productive, and globally competitive. We look forward to expanding our collaboration with you, unlocking new opportunities that drive sustainable growth for Rwanda and drive reliable returns for our partners and our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, over the next 3 days, we are going to engage in rich dialogue, explore new opportunities, forge partnerships that can move the sector forward. I am confident that the ideas born here will help shape the next era of responsible and innovative mining, that not just in Rwanda, but across the region. So finally, allow me to express my appreciation to the mining companies, the traders, international, local cooperatives, for the contribution to the success of this mining week. We are very grateful for you, and we are here for you in this journey. And special thanks, of course, to the team and all the partners, sponsors, exhibitors that made this happen. Murakoze cyane, mugire icyumweru cyiza cya Mining Week.
Murakoze cyane, CEO. Thank you for those wonderful remarks and for reaffirming your commitment to building a mining sector that is responsible, competitive, and future-ready. Once again, I'll remind you that we have translation to Kinyarwanda. If you are interested in receiving the translation kit, please ask, and the protocol team will deliver it to you. And our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep our eyes fixated on the screen for a short film that captures the history of mining in Rwanda.
Nearly a century ago, beneath these serene hills, a discovery was made that would forever transform Rwanda. What had long remained silent beneath the earth, its hidden minerals, was uncovered by those who saw not the land or its people, but the profit it could bring. After World War I, 1914 to 1918, when Rwanda came under colonial rule, a team of geologists led by Chanoine Achille Salé from the University of Louvain was sent to the country. Salé quickly produced the first geological map, identifying cassiterite deposits in the eastern region, particularly in Bugarama and Bugarura. In 1925, two of the greatest European commercial banks, La Société Générale and the Bank of Brussels, which were competitors, both funded Minetin, which was granted mining rights across Rwanda. By 1931, Somuki, Société de Muhinga et Kigali, was granted mining rights, and in 1939, engineer Ferdinand discovered rich ore deposits in Rutongo. In Rwinkwavu, cassiterite was discovered by les Frères Gargarotos, and with the help of Michael Moses, who was influential in Uganda, and Governor Eugene Jungas of Rwanda-Urundi, mining began in 1939. In the 1940s, control of Rwinkwavu's mines was ceded to Geomine, a European company, which established Geo-Rwanda. By 1957, the Tin Committee required Geo-Rwanda to scale back its operations. In 1973, Geomine merged with the Vandenbranden Group, which had acquired Somuki and Minetin, consolidating all companies under Somirwa, Société Minière du Rwanda, with 51% capital belonging to Geomine and 49% to the Rwandan government. Only two wolfram mines remained independent, Mine Marshall in Gifurgwe and Mine Stinglember in Bugarama, now part of Burera district. As mining expanded, production grew across regions. Companies exploring mines in different regions started occupying mining concessions. Minerals like cassiterite, the main source of tin, wolfram, tungsten, and gold, saw significant production increases, with cassiterite leading the charge as one of Rwanda's most important exports. Niobium and tantalum, critical metals for high-tech industries, also saw notable production over the years. Gold was first discovered in Nyungwe and Miyove in the 1930s. By the 1980s, informal miners were extracting between 100 and 300 kilograms of gold annually from Nyungwe, while Miyove produced up to 2,500 kilograms. By 1985, Rwanda had produced over 7 tons of gold. much of which left the country unnoticed. During the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, the mining sector was devastated, with experts killed and infrastructure destroyed. It wasn't until the mid-2000s, after the privatization of mining operations, that Rwanda's mining sector began to recover. By 2017, the total output quadrupled and the mining sector's performance continued to rise, reaching $1.75 billion by 2024. In 2018, Luna established a tin smelter using advanced electrical arc furnace technology, contributing 26% of Rwanda's tin export value. By June 2022, the Gasabo Gold Refinery began refining gold with 99.999% purity, positioning Rwanda as one of the few countries capable of such high-level refinement. Rwanda today is a responsible and compliant origin of critical minerals spanning the 3 T's: lithium, beryllium, rare earth elements, and high-value precious minerals including gold, amethysts, ruby, tourmaline, and sapphire. With strengthened geological data, traceability systems, and a rapidly improving enabling environment, Rwanda is positioning itself as a reliable participant in global advanced technology supply chains. Looking ahead, the land of 1,000 hills is emerging as a competitive African destination for upstream exploration, midstream processing, value addition, and downstream manufacturing partnerships. For global investors, Rwanda offers a stable, well-regulated, and future-oriented platform to build long-term value across the mineral value chain.
Thank you. Do you remember me saying this is the week to unpack? There is more where that came from. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is the chairperson, RMB Board of Directors. Let's welcome on stage Chairman Itzhak Fisher.
Good morning, everybody. Honorable Prime Minister, honorable ministers, senior government officials, members of the diplomatic corps, distinguished international delegates, partners in mining sector, and distinguished guests. A very good morning. I'm delighted to welcome you to Rwanda for Mining Week, a convening of upstream and downstream actors, manufacturers, academia, development finance organizations, inorganic chemicals industry manufacturers and service providers, government stakeholders from key national partners engaged in critical minerals security and supply. Our theme for this year is Minerals for a Smarter and Greener Future. Could not be more timely. The world is experiencing an unprecedented surge in demand for critical minerals as nations transition toward clean energy technologies, electric mobility, advanced digital systems. Rwanda continues to be responsible and reliable source of critical minerals, including tantalum, tin, tungsten, high-grade lithium, beryllium, rare earth minerals, as well as gold and variety of gemstones. These resources position Rwanda as a strategic partner in the evolving global mineral economy. As highlighted in the documentary that we just saw, earlier, mining in Rwanda has deep historical roots. Over the past 8 years, from 1917 to 1925, the sector has recorded strong growth, and we are poised for even greater achievements in the coming years. This is thanks to an ongoing sectoral reforms to drive technology mining, professionalizing, streaming licenses, real-time efficient inspections to enforce compliance with legal regulatory requirements, as well as fostering continuous professional development. Exploration activities are currently underway across 52 potential target areas, focusing on lithium, beryl, rare earth minerals, gold, and the traditional three tins. As new geological data is generated and validated, it is being packaged into investment-ready information for investors. Tomorrow, we will launch the second mining investment pitch book of the year. It is an important milestone in Rwanda's strategy to support informed investment decisions. Meanwhile, successful applicants for the first pitch books are currently entering the licensing phase. Just to remind everybody, a couple of months ago, we came out with pitch books for 10 concessions. After 21 years that we didn't give concessions, we are now open for business. We awarded 7 new concessions, and as I just said, we are coming out with 10 new pitch books immediately after Mining Week. As we transition toward mechanism mines operations, efforts are underway to provide support to mines in remote areas to get connected to national grid and locally access other inputs, including mining equipment and explosives. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, global investors are here present. We invite you to invest in Rwanda mining ecosystem from exploration, exploitation, processing, advanced value addition, and end-to-end manufacturing. Smart mining is no longer optional, it is a requirement. Rwanda encourages the adaptation of artificial intelligence, automation, robotics, IoT sensors, and 5G connectivity, unmanned aerial vehicles, and data-driven decision-making systems. These technologies enable safety, strengthening efficiency, and improve environment stewardship. They all represent a significant investment opportunities for innovation-driven companies. A few personal words for me. I've been now the chairman of RMB for the last, I think, 3 years. I've been the chairman of RDB for the last almost 9 years, if I'm not mistaken. The RMB in the last 3 years have made tremendous steps forward. Rwanda is one of the safest countries to operate in. It is a country where investors are welcomed with open hands, and we are trying to make it as seamless as possible for investors to invest in our country and to be successful in mining. We have streamlined a lot of processes. We have still a long way to go, but at least I can tell you that from my point of view, we see a lot of progress. We welcome all the foreign investors that came to the Mining Week this week, and we hope that it will not be your only visit to Rwanda. We hope to see all of you as future investors and operators in mining in our country. Again, we are open for business, and we welcome you with open hands. And please don't hesitate if you need anything from RMB. We will try to accommodate you to the maximum that we can. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I extend my sincere gratitude to our sponsors, development partners, investors, researchers, mining operators, and all esteemed delegates. Your contribution and partnership are integral to the success of Rwanda Mining Week 2025. And now, I have the honor to welcome you to the Prime Minister of Rwanda to address the congregation and officially open the Rwanda Mining Week 2025.
Mwaramutse. Mwaramutse. Ba nyakubahwa ba minisitiri muri hano, abayobozi mu nzego zitandukanye z'igihugu cyacu, batumirwa mwese, cyane cyane abakora mu rwego rw'ubucukuzi bw'amabuye y'agaciro, ndabaramukije. Nishimiye kwifatanya namwe mu gutangiza ku mugaragaro icyumweru cy'ubucukuzi ku nshuro ya 8 mu Rwanda. Ni igikorwa cy'ingenzi kiduha amahirwe yo gusangira ibitekerezo, kureba aho tugeze no gutegura ejo hazaza h'uru rwego. Ndabashimira uruhare rukomeye mukomeje kugira mu guteza imbere uru rwego rutanga imirimo ku Banyarwanda barenga 92,000 ndetse n'intambwe ikomeje guterwa mu kubaka ubucukuzi bukozwe kinyamwuga. Uruhare rwanyu rugaragaza ko ubucukuzi bushobora kuba isoko y'iterambere rirambye. Turabashishikariza gukomeza gushyira imbere imiyoborere myiza, kurengera ibidukikije no guteza imbere ubumenyi n'ikoranabuhanga mu rwego rw'ubucukuzi. Umunsi nk'uyu ni umwanya mwiza kuri guverinoma kugira ngo yongere gushimangira ko ibashyigikiye muri uyu mwuga mukora w'ingirakamaro ku gihugu cyacu. Ni intambwe ikomeye mu kubaka icyizere, ubufatanye no gushyigikira abashoramari n'abakozi bose. Ndabizeza rero ko guverinoma izakomeza kubashyigikira kugira ngo mukomeze gukora mu buryo bwizewe, butanga umusaruro kandi butangiza ibidukikije. Ndagira rero ngo mbasabe munyemerere nkomeze ijambo mu Cyongereza kugira ngo n'abashyitsi turi kumwe bashobore kumva ubutumwa dutanga uyu munsi. Honorable Ministers, Mr. Itzhak Fisher, Chairman of RMB Board of Directors, senior government officials, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to welcome you to the 8th edition of Rwanda Mining Week. On behalf of the government of Rwanda, I extend warm greetings to all participants joining us from Rwanda and from abroad. Your presence here reflects the growing recognition of Rwanda as a trusted and forward-looking partner in the global mining sector. This year's theme, Minerals for a Smarter and Greener Future, underscores the central role that minerals play in empowering modern economies and in accelerating the global transition towards environmental sustainability. Mining is not only about the extraction of resources. It is about creating opportunities for growth, innovation, and shared prosperity. Rwanda's mining sector has become a key pillar of our national development. It provides livelihoods to thousands of Rwandans and makes a significant contribution to our economy. Importantly, it continues to position Rwanda as a reliable supplier of strategic minerals to the world. Our vision remains clear: a mining sector that is responsible, inclusive, and fully aligned with international standards. This means ensuring that mining activities deliver tangible benefits to local communities, safeguard our environment, and contribute to long-term stability. It also means deepening partnerships with investors, researchers, and development partners to unlock opportunities across the entire value chain. We remain committed to maintaining a stable and transparent regulatory environment, strengthening governance, and supporting cooperation that promotes responsible and sustainable investments. Distinguished guests, as the world advances towards a low-carbon future, Rwanda stands ready to play its part as a principled, responsible, and reliable partner. Let this mining week serve as a platform for productive dialogue, collaboration, and renewed commitment to a sector that drives economic transformation while protecting our planet. It is now my honor and pleasure to declare the 8th edition of Rwanda Mining Week officially open, and I wish you all fruitful deliberations. Thank you.
Televiziyo Rwanda hano muri Convention Center hamaze gutangizwa ku mugaragaro icyumweru cyahariwe ubucukuzi bw'agaciro ni Rwanda Mining Week ku nshuro yayo ya 8 ku mugaragaro rero icyumweru kikaba gitangijwe na nyakubahwa Minisitiri w'Intebe Dr. Justin Nsengiyumva aho agaragaje ko guverinoma y'u Rwanda ishyigikiye urwego rw'ubucukuzi ishyigikiye abashoramari bari mu rwego kugira ngo bakomeze bazamure umusaruro uturuka muri ubucukuzi cyane cyane ko agaragaje ko ari urwego rufitiye ubukungu bw'igihugu kuko rutanga akazi ku bantu barenga 92,000 ndetse kandi rukaba ari urwego rugaragaza ko ruzakomeza gutera imbere bitewe n'ingamba guverinoma igenda ishyiraho. Rafiki ngira ngo yego
yavuze cyane cyane ku gushyigikira abashoramari kugira ngo uru rwego rukomere kandi rutanga umusaruro ugamije guhindura kuzana impinduka mu buzima bw'abaturage ndetse kandi by'umwihariko anavuga yuko u Rwanda rwiteguye kwita ku bidukikije cyane cyane hashyirwamo ikoranabuhanga hashyirwamo imbaraga ababukora bakagira iterambere ariko rikanarenga kuri bo rikagera ku baturage. Si nawe wenyine bamwumvise umuyobozi wa RMB cyangwa se Rwanda Mining Board yavuze yuko uru rwego tukwiye gutangira kubonera uru rwego mu bikorwa bihari za telefone za computer byose bikomoka mu mabuye y'agaciro kandi ni ibintu by'ingenzi mu buzima bwa buri munsi. Uyu munsi ikoranabuhanga ryagiye mu buzima bwacu bwa buri munsi. Isaac Fisher nawe yavuze yuko igihugu cy'u Rwanda cyorohereza ishoramari cyane cyane mu bikorwa by'ubucukuzi bw'amabuye y'agaciro bugamije iterambere ry'isi na ry'ikoranabuhanga ryose twakomozagaho.
Ariko by'umwihariko icyo twakwitega muri iki cyumweru nuko ku munsi w'ejo ibiganiro bizakomeza ndetse kandi hazabaho n'imurikabikorwa mu kanya abashyitsi bari hano bagiye kwerekeza ahagiye kubera imurikabikorwa aho u Rwanda rugaragaza amabuye rucukura n'amabuye atandukanye by'umwihariko u Rwanda rukaba rukomeje kugaragaza umusaruro mu mabuye y'agaciro azi mu bwoko bwa triti. Ngira ngo rero reka dusoreze aha ngaha mwe mwese mwamukurikiye televiziyo Rwanda by'umwihariko abari bakurikiye umuhango uri kubera hano ku Kigali Convention Center reka tubabwire ko dusoreje aha ariko ibiganiro byacu n'amakuru bizakomeza bigaruke kuri igikorwa kiri kubera hano muri Kigali Convention Center. Mukomeze mugire byiza ngendera kwa Sena Nginshuti ndi kumwe na mugenzi wanjye yego bye nawe utaha.
Mining Week. I hope you enjoyed that short break. My name is Jackie Lumbasi, and it is a pleasure to be your MC for the day. We are going to have a panel discussion, but just before that panel discussion, let's take a few minutes to enjoy some entertainment, a great performance from my favorite dance troupe, Inganzo Ngari.
ingarika mu mahina ya rwuhira ntisakura iyo urayaburiye umuhanga yasanze busa n'ubugese yarakomeje aratabara kibirizi kimahembe zaragiye ntacyo byamutwaye Niba bitadatenya nimbanze no mucyo rutemwa no muhungu ntabyijambo uramireza neza n'abatanga barwamugiye gituzane ntazaga Rwanda hamiriza neza sanjagenda iyo mwiriwe ntarwo kunyeka z'u Rwanda sanjagenda ngari z'u Rwanda ntabwo ari ahubwo rero
Can we appreciate them once again? They have done a wonderful job. If you're visiting for the first time, you're singing Ganzongari for the first time, and you're wondering, what's the message in that song? What are they saying? They're welcoming you to the beautiful land of 1,000 hills, asking you to feel welcome, to feel at home, enjoy the beautiful people, the culture, the food, and everything that this beautiful country of ours has to offer. I hope you're using the hashtag Rwanda Mining Week. In case you have something you want to share with us on social media, kindly do use that hashtag so that we're able to trace your comment, your thought, your suggestion. The whole event, the opening ceremony and the panel discussion we're going into is live on the official RTV YouTube channel. Now, it gives me a great pleasure to introduce the second phase of the day's program. We have a conversation on critical minerals powering AI, aerospace, and clean energy. And to moderate this conversation, I'm pleased to invite my friend and sister, Diana Mpisi, who will in turn invite our panelists. Let's appreciate Diana.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Can everyone hear me? Yes? Great, thank you. So as my colleague Jackie said, this particular panel is very interesting. It's going to focus on critical minerals, powering artificial intelligence, aerospace, and clean energy. Very big buzzwords, if you'll agree with me. On this panel, we'll explore how these items I mentioned, how Africa positions itself, and Rwanda as well. We are often referred to, unfortunately, as an ore bucket. We'll delve into that phrase later on. But now is the time to have conversations and ask ourselves, how does the continent, which is wealthy in these natural minerals, how can it contribute to these particular elements of smart technology? So help me in welcoming my panelists. I hope they're in the room. Some I know, some are new faces, so I hope they're here. I'll start with welcoming on stage Samuel Wagstaff, aluminum process and product consultant at Oculators Consulting from the USA. Mr. Wagstaff, warm welcome to you on the stage. Okay, maybe he's not yet back in the room, but I'm sure my colleagues will get him. We have Mr. Yves Mujambere, Chief Innovation Officer at QT Global Software Limited. A warm welcome to you, Yves, on the stage. Thank you, Yves. Yes. Professor Wilfred Diffren, President of Ames Research and Innovation Center. A warm welcome to Professor Wilfred from Ames. And Dr. Anatoly Agolyansky, Chief Scientist from PrisGuru Inc., based in the United States. Dr. Anatoly? Okay, I'm hoping my colleagues will find a way to please get the speakers. They're most likely still in the exhibition area. So that said, we'll begin with our speakers here. Professor Wilfred Diffren, thank you for joining us, and Yves from QT Global. Like I said, the conversation we are having here is on powering AI, aerospace, and clean energy. For some people, this might be the first time hearing how minerals are actually complementing or contributing to tech. Usually, it's it's something that's not really at the fore, but this is something we're discussing not only in Rwanda, but globally as well. And my first question to you, Eve, is, critical minerals are the fuel of the digital economy. As someone from QT Global, if you could just share with us your general view of the digital economy vis-a-vis the mining sector, and how Rwanda can contribute to the innovation ecosystem and offer, solutions for smarter and greener futures through mining. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. I don't know if I can be heard.
Let's put it next to you. Yes.
Yes, thank you. In terms of minerals and the tech, minerals power a lot of the infrastructure used for the tech products. So minerals are used to produce like capacitors that are involved in creating batteries, and the batteries power the EV, the electric vehicles. We're talking about the green revolution. In terms of AI, minerals are used to produce the semiconductor and the GPUs that are now used to, that are available in the data centers and are used to run the AI workloads. So in terms of the evolution of the digitization in Rwanda, which is where QT is mostly involved, we've gone from, there was work done on having the infrastructure needed. This is where connectivity and things like fiber and broadband was availed by the government and other sectors. So then the next phase was to have the digital services, so digitizing the services, whether they are public or private. And QT, again, we're involved in digitizing things like the medical records. So we're in hospital management, we've digitized the case management in the justice sector. We're digitizing the civil registry and other civil events. So whether you go to the hospital and your kid is born, so you don't have to go register the kid at the district level, it's done on the hospital with our systems. We also power collaboration among secure collaboration and instant collaboration among enterprises and government. So, and then we see that the next phase is going to be now integrating AI in these solutions to, again, increase productivity. And so how Africa can contribute to that is, as you mentioned at the beginning, we cannot be seen as the ore bucket. So we have to transform these ores and produce not only the elements, but products, whether they're finished or semi-finished. So for example, with tantalum, it's used again to make capacitors. Why can't we invest in manufacturing these capacitors? We're not going to, for example, compete with the biggest in the world, but we can be their suppliers, right? So we can provide the capacitors to these companies that are producing the semiconductors. So we have rare earth here in Rwanda. These rare earths are used to produce magnets, and these magnets are used in the electric vehicles, in the motors and other types of things. So why can't we leverage that and make magnets here and then supply them to the Teslas and BYDs of the world? So I think that's how we can be involved, whether it's in the green revolution by powering by powering or being suppliers to these producers, but we can also be involved in the AI by leveraging our mineral wealth, by transforming it into products that then we can supply to the manufacturers of this world.
Thank you, Yves. I'll definitely come back to you on the question of, why can't we be countries that actually produce these refined elements of mining products that feed into, smart technology. I'd like to ask the audience, can you hear us clearly? Could you hear Yves talking clearly? Yes? Okay, I guess there's a bit of feedback here. Jackie, if you could please help me kindly tell the people at the back to keep it quiet. I believe that's the Ingansongari. My next question is for you, Professor Dr. Wilfred Ndifon, on behalf of AIMS. So AIMS Rwanda, as many of you know, is renowned for its cutting-edge research in mathematical sciences, data science, and quantum computing, with significant applications in health and climate modeling. My question to you is, how can academic and research institutions, such as AIMS, support expertise in data analytics and mathematical modeling to directly support smart mining? It's a mouthful of a question, I know, so please let me know if it's clear.
Thank you very much. So maybe I should start by telling you a bit about AIMS. AIMS is the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences. We were founded by a South African theoretical physicist called Neil Turok in 2003. And the motivation is recognition that the key technologies that drive economic advancement the fastest are all based on mathematics. So we're currently living in what's called a digital revolution. The foundations of this revolution are mathematical. Our future will be both digital and analog. Increasingly, we're going to have quantum computers help us with information processing. But already we see attempts to make AI more efficient by resorting to analog computing frameworks. So that also is mathematical. So we have current and future technologies that are driving rapid economic growth, which all have a foundation in mathematics. Now, as Africans, we can choose whether we're going to wait and hope that someone will develop the technologies that we need, or we may decide to develop the technologies ourselves. We can use what exists, but make sure we are developing technologies that address our challenges. And if you choose the second route, then you need to build capacity in the foundations of modern technology, hence AIMS. We offer advanced training in the mathematical sciences at the master's level. And we also conduct research in the mathematical sciences. And recently, we've moved on to develop capacity in innovation. Now, AIMS is Pan-African. We have operations in 5 African countries. And Rwanda is exceptional in that it hosts 2 of our centers. There is the AIMS Rwanda Center, which is providing postgraduate training in the mathematical sciences. Then the Research and Innovation Center, which I lead, which is engaged in research and also ensuring that the research is transformed into societal value. At the Research and Innovation Center, we have 3 main focus areas: data, quantum, and modeling. So data, when we talk of data, we're talking about things like advanced statistics, machine learning, artificial intelligence. These are all really key areas in which Africa needs to lead. Quantum, well, as I mentioned earlier, we have a quantum and analog future, which will be partly powered by quantum computers. So it's important that as Africans, we develop expertise in this technology and we shape its future direction. And then modeling. Modeling sits underneath all of this because you can do data science without doing modeling. You can study quantum or build quantum computers without doing modeling. And by the way, for those who aren't familiar with this, AI itself is a mathematical model, right? So this modeling is really a foundation on which the other 2 sit. Now, these 3 areas are quite relevant to the objective of developing smart mining operations. I'll just focus on one area, which is exploration. Now, it is known that the success rate from explorations based on traditional approaches is not very high. And increasingly, people are now thinking of new ways of doing exploration, whether it's about taking a second look at the existing empirical facts on which the maps of mineral locations of mineral deposits are based, and reanalyzing those data, those facts, using mathematical models and machine learning models, or developing completely new approaches. And one of these is called quantum sensing. So quantum computers are still in the future, maybe 10 years away, but quantum sensing is already being used in a number of fields. And it's particularly useful because you can use it to detect things like changes in magnetic fields or changes in gravity, depending on the density of rock formations in a particular area, you can have different levels of gravity, and you can have these sensors measuring this. So that gives you data. And if you combine this data with machine learning, you can then learn the patterns, the features that are predictive of the presence of specific minerals in different locations. Not just in addition to what you get from quantum sensors, you could also use satellite data. People are increasingly using that. Hyperspectral images that you may collect using drones. All of this rich data can be analyzed and made sense of using machine learning. And so at AIMS, we are building that capacity. And as I mentioned earlier, we like to look at foundations. So AI is an evolving field. It's still immature in many ways, still has many limitations. So you want to be applying it with a clear understanding of what the limitations are and how you can innovate, how you can develop new AI architectures, new algorithms on top of those architectures that address specific challenges. So this is an important research area at AIMS. So quantum sensing plus AI can significantly increase the success rate of explorations. There's a company, I don't want to mention the name, but they claim to have success rates of about 75% by using AI. But any significant improvement, I think, will be very useful, especially given the fact that currently exploration is very expensive. So the people who get mining concessions tend to sell the rights to those concessions, basically for pennies on the dollar, because they don't have the means to do this exploration. If you can use technology to lower the cost, then more of these resources will be exploited by Africans in partnership with our global partners. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Professor, I would like to welcome the two gentlemen who've just come in. Apologies, we had to start without you in the interest of time, but thank you for making it. And allow me to reintroduce, starting with the gentleman on my left, Mr. Samuel Wagstaff, aluminum process and product consultant at Oculators Consulting from the USA. Let's give him a warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen. And on my far left, Dr. Anatoly Agolyansky, who's the chief scientist at Prisguru Inc. from the USA. Let's give him a warm welcome. Let's, ladies and gentlemen. So my next question is to you, Mr. Wagstaff. And earlier on, before you came, we were talking about Africa being considered an ore bucket. And an ore bucket, as many of you will know, is a continent known for its minerals, but it's just, extractive, and, we want to move from that to leverage ourselves as a continent that, there's refinery, contributes to smart mining, and so on and so forth. So my question to you, Mr. Wagstaff, is, based on your experience, how can countries in Africa shift from being passive upstream, branded actors, branded as ore buckets, to becoming competitive producers of refined and finished products with high-value stages, for instance, in terms of battery, electric vehicles, and advanced tech manufacturing?
All right. Thank you. I apologize for being late. In my defense, I was at the exhibit trying to get a better view of what's going on in Rwanda today. So it's a really good and fascinating question, right? Because we have a lot of history to go back on, not just why does Rwanda or Africa overall look the way it does today, but also what's happened in kind of throughout history over the rest of the world. And so how do we move from kind of this kind of low value ore bucket, I like that term, into something else. And the interesting part is when you move from that ore bucket mentality over to final and finished product, the value that you're bringing into the stream multiplies by a factor of 10 or 50. So whatever you think the value is in that ore bucket, you multiply that by an order of magnitude more to bring value into the countries. So that's, I think, the reason behind it, right? Why we ultimately would want to do that, because we're bringing more value back to the countries where the ore originally came from. In terms of what would have to happen, or what the goal would need to be, none of this can be built overnight. And so when you're trying to compete with European, American, or Asian counterparts who are doing lots of the refining of African ores, there's a couple of things that absolutely have to be in place. And the first is a very good, robust logistics and electrical power system. And I think historically those have been places where Africa has maybe a negative connotation, that there just isn't reliable power or isn't reliable logistics. And I mean, I flew in yesterday, and I can tell you it's absolutely not true. There was no problems in that delay. I think in terms of moving forward, so we're addressing some of those logistics and electrical grid issues. The next piece in a refining operation is to begin to establish those here on site, and that could be through, and we see lots of great success certainly in China, by establishing development hubs where there are certain centers where we don't have dispersed refining operations, but we have special economic zones like you have here in Kigali that are specifically designed for the extraction and processing of metals and materials. And so you could see inside of the special economic zone not just Rwandan tin, but Congolese cobalt, Zambian manganese, or Tanzanian graphite, all being refined and manufactured here inside of the African center. So that would probably be the first thing that you could probably establish within like 1 to 3 or 1 to 5 years. And then kind of concurrently with that, there's a lot of other materials that are required, not just those critical materials that we get a lot of buzz out of, but there's a lot of requirements for aluminum, copper, zinc, et cetera, that are just present in lots of these battery materials as well. And while there's not a huge presence of all of those kinds of smelters here in Africa, that's certainly possible to be added, and I would probably suggest looking at a secondary smelter operation, where not just look at and this is probably the mistake that the rest of the world made, was we focused so much on the primary extractive metallurgy side that we forgot about the recycling aspect of it. And so things like copper and aluminum, you have here already present, they're just already in a refined state. They're inside of your buildings, they're inside of your cars, they're inside of what you've already built infrastructure-wise. And the rest of the world is coming to the realization that all of those trash piles and things are actually sources of mine, or they should be mined much closer to how traditional mining is done. And so a secondary kind of smelting operation space would allow for some of those other materials, copper foils, aluminum foils, that are required for like battery manufacturing as well. And then I would say probably the third thing that's probably the most important is to manage the talent pool effectively, and deal with and try to manage the brain drain kind of an issue where you have talented students, talented employees who seek employment elsewhere, and so you see this extraction of of intellectual talent that's leaving Africa and moving to other parts of the world. And so creating, as a part of those special economic zones, but education incentives and investing in universities and research centers to bring those people back, or extract talent from and just reverse the brain drain and steal intellectual talent from other parts of the world as well, and bring them in to help to develop those refineries and secondary smelting processes, and do the next generation research on artificial intelligence, quantum computing, batteries, et cetera, so that Rwanda or Africa overall becomes the source of where everyone comes to do research and wants to do that manufacturing in the first place. Because this is where all the talent resides, and it happens to also be exactly where all of the minerals are. And so as long as you can bring together where the minerals are coming from and the talent to be able to put them together, any company in the world will find that as the right place to build. Buildings can go anywhere. It's really about finding those minerals and finding that talent and putting those things together that really draw everything together.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope some of the leading refineries on the continent, the companies are here with us today, because we're going to have a Q&A later on and discuss some of these things. So I believe the tantalum biggest refinery is based here on the continent. And these are great insights you're sharing, talent retention, amongst many other things, which we'll come back to later. Professor Dr. Anatoly, my question is to you as a chief scientist from PrisGuru. And it's really to kind of break down, we're talking about mining, we're talking about smart tech, but if you could just be a bit more granular. And my question is to you is, at what scale do critical minerals power the mining sector, and including artificial intelligence? So at what scale do critical minerals power the next generation technologies in artificial intelligence, aerospace industries, and the global green transition? If you could just give us a breakdown of that.
Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me. It's fantastic.
If you could just put your microphone closer to your face. Yes. Thank you.
Now you can hear me? It's better.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So when we talk about future, which is AI, aerospace, electric cars, and so on, we're imagining software, special algorithms, but actually everything depends on and cannot exist without critical minerals. You heard this sentence today. I will try to tell something that you didn't hear. I want to give some examples from my field. The most part of my life I spent for tantalum and niobium, chemistry, metallurgy, application, scrap recycling, everything. And last 20 years I've been working in semiconductors, and actually all my life in problem solving. So when we think about semiconductors, about microchip, we all know it is built from silicon. Silicon. But we don't know, I believe not everyone knows, that the key material is the tantalum. Tantalum separates copper lines from silicon oxide, and without tantalum, no one chip will continue to work. And what's the point is that you can replace copper, you can replace silicon oxide, you cannot replace tantalum. Tantalum is so unique, you can't replace it. Another example, tantalum capacitors. You know, tantalum capacitors is just fantastic electronic devices. Each cell phone that now in your you have contains at least 20 to 30 tantalum capacitors, and no replacement. only tantalum can be used for this. Of course, niobium, as we hear, niobium has very high critical temperatures. Therefore, without niobium, you cannot create quantum computers. Even MRI machine will never work without niobium. I'm not talking about examples that you all know that tantalum niobium containing alloys, so-called superalloys, allows chemical processes and allows airspace applications and so on. I want to tell you about the paradox. For instance, a paradox that companies know exactly all fantastic properties of, for instance, tantalum, and they try not to use tantalum. For instance, in microelectronics, people try to develop technology in order to avoid using tantalum, because tantalum is the most expensive material in microchip, just to let you know. Tantalum capacitors. No one of producers like tantalum capacitors because tantalum powder is terribly expensive. And therefore, people try to develop ceramic capacitors, maybe replace tantalum for niobium oxide. Not very successful. But anyway, people invest money into not to using tantalum and niobium. So Rwanda supplies about, as far as I know, 22% of tantalum. And what's happened? Rwanda supplies tantalum, a refinery produce tantalum powder, sell it at very high price, and companies invest money in order to not to use tantalum, which is terrible. I'm not sure you are very happy to participate in such flow. There is only way, from my point of view, is to reduce price. But even if you give raw material concentrate free of charge to suppliers, to producers, they will never reduce the price. The price will remain the same. They will have just more profit and nothing more than that. As to me, the only way is to start producing, to start refinery and produce and process here in Rwanda. It's easy to say, it's not easy to do. Why? Because very often people think we can copy technology, existing technology, which is completely wrong way. Because today's technologies for tantalum, for niobium, they are very expensive by design. They are very old and very expensive. So if you build something like, I don't know, Stark produces or Cabot, you will never win. You should build something new. In order to build something new, you should innovate. Now, the innovation is not something new. Innovation is a result of solving problems. In our case, is a result of solving engineering problems. Innovation is our ability to convert problem into profit. This is the definition. Therefore, we all should start to learn how to innovate and how to solve problems. Solving problem is a science. And only based on problem solving, scientific problem solving, we can create new or at least somehow renovated technology and achieve low price. By achieving the low price, people stop investing money into developing technology to not to use tantalum. Opposite, they will invest money in the developing new applications, how to use more and more tantalum. You know, in the very beginning, aluminum price was close to gold price. And of course, no one able to use it. And developed technology allows to use it everywhere. So let's start to learn problem solving and innovation.
Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. You know, very insightful submissions from this esteemed panel. You're talking about increasing talent retention. You're talking about, you know, refinery as something we can focus on. You know, to Eve, you talked about in Rwanda how, you know, why don't we actually challenge ourselves to being people who leverage and these technologies to push forward smart mining. So my question now, but it's first to the audience before I come back to the panel. And, you know, there are key players in the audience I can see in the mining sector, not only in Rwanda, but across the continent, and scientists also from abroad. And my question to you is, after what the panel has said, the submissions from the panel, in terms of aerospace, in terms of AI, in terms of smart technologies, how can Africa as a continent, how can our countries, you know, join in this very important trend? How, are there some ideas you have in addition to what the panel says? And very happy to hear from you for at least 10 minutes before we go back to a panel for their closing submissions. From the audience, any questions? Sorry, any responses to my question? Yes, there's a gentleman there. There's a microphone next to you.
Thank you very much. My name is Christian Lack. I'm a geophysicist from Germany.
Just, if you could speak a bit louder, or if the technical team can increase his microphone's volume. Thank you.
I'm a geophysicist from Germany, and I very like the panel discussion about smart technologies and machine learning based on exploration physics. My question is, and that also answers your question, are there cross-validating studies where you have drilling cores to investigate the underground and then apply machine learning without looking at the resulting data of the drilling? I think this is one of the keystones what should be mentioned in that machine learning process of exploration physics.
Did you hear this question?
Yeah.
Yes. Samuel, please.
I think that's a great. I think it's a great comment. So the comment, if I can repeat it back, was around using machine learning in exploration, and we should be focusing more on that. So I'm not fully aware of all of the different techniques and algorithms that are used, but certainly in terms of, as with any artificial intelligence, machine learning type approach, the quality of the data that you put into the system really dictates the quality of the data back. But we've seen artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms work in other aspects of metals and machine learning applications where they're able to take resulting compositions of final materials and then predict, or certainly of scrap materials, where you have this unknown quality of scrap that's incoming, and based off of your final metallurgical assay at the end, give you this prediction of the complete bell curve of all of your different qualities in terms of metallurgical qualities, but also compositions of these different alloys that go into scrap. And so while we know that's working in in scrap blending in the secondary processing space, there's no reason that it shouldn't be explored and added into the exploration space. It's just a matter of getting the right quality of data to input into the algorithm. And there's probably nothing that replaces just getting out and actually taking measurements, but certainly minimizing the amount of damage and the amount of data that has to be collected will certainly reduce the cost for lots of those mining explorations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone on the panel who also wants to answer his question? Yes, Professor.
It's quite difficult to hear well, even when others speak on the panel.
Sorry? You can't hear, or you can't hear what they're saying?
Yeah, we can hear it clearly.
Okay. I'll just ask the technical team to improve on the comments from the audience, so our panel can hear. There's a sound issue? Is that what you're saying? There's an echo, yes. There's also an echo on stage. That's why earlier on, Eve, I was asking if you could hear us, because I was getting the echo from you when you started talking. So if we could just have that fixed as we close this particular panel, and I'll try my best to be as loud as possible and avoid the echo. But any more questions to the panel from the audience? Or comments? It doesn't have to be a question per se. I thought there would be more conversation. This is a very important conversation, looking at critical minerals and smart mining, how they contribute to smart technology, aerospace, engineering, artificial intelligence, machine learning. Any comments from the audience? Yes, if you could please stand up.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Diedone Vigirimana. I'm working for EcoBank Rwanda. So I have a question to ask. Yeah, my question is around the rising of AI and its impact on the global demand in minerals demand. What has really the rise of AI has impacted on the global demand in minerals? Thank you.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Yes, I can make just a small comment about this. I'm not in the financial business development side of this. But from the scientific side, we know AI currently is very inefficient. So if you imagine you need just a few megabytes of data to learn and master the English language. AI needs many orders of magnitude more. So when you need more data, it also means you need more computing power. So you need more chips, okay? And so we see data centers growing, the number of data centers growing around the world. And this has resulted in a rise in the demand for chips. And of course, as we've heard earlier, these chips depend on the critical minerals. I just want to note that within the continent, and especially at AIMS, there are efforts to try to develop much more efficient AI architectures. Globally, there are also efforts like this. So by moving from these digital computers, which has this problem that you store data in one place, and then you manipulate the data in another place. So you need memory, and then you have the CPU. So one approach to doing that is to implement AI within analog computers. These also rely on the minerals that we've been talking about. But that's, at AIMS, we're also looking at algorithmic solutions to this. So ensuring that we have AI architectures that can learn as efficiently or nearly as efficiently as humans do. If we do that, then we'll reduce a lot of this, the demand on chips for AI computations.
Thank you. Dr. Natoli, did you have something to say? No. Did you have something to say to his question?
Regarding the, again, this is what I tried to say. AI and increases usage of chips dramatically. And we should allow it. We should reduce the price of tantalum. And this is what will increase demand in tantalum. I mean, you know, tantalum has a lot of applications. Tantalum is the only material that compatible to our body. And I saw a company, they produce indents from stainless steel and cover it with tantalum. I said, why? Because it's very expensive. They think all over the world is thinking how not to use tantalum. This is terrible. We should change it. We should destroy this and reverse this situation. This is what I wanted to leave you here.
Thank you. Any last questions from the audience before we close? Questions or comments from the audience?
Thank you very much. My name is Victor Dennis, a public health specialist and also industrial pharmacology. To me, I think different we solve that even if in a smart area, minerals and green future, we may see things is somehow complementarity. If they are producing more tantalum and lithium and all that, whereby it is going to be refined over or processed over here and then go to the some developed countries whereby they are going to give you a very good cost. In other way, for us, all the things there is some complementarity whereby the thing you are producing and selling for the high cost or the increase for you, then you yourself also you may use that reduced cost for your agriculture, whereby you are going to reduce carbon emission, and also you are going to use that in your agriculture, whereby you are going to use electrical things, electrical tractors, and hydropowers. And within the hydropower, that the cost will reduce, and then economic-wise, your people they are going to have a good health because you reduce the carbon emission in your area, and also they are eating very well, and also the production of agriculture will go higher. Thank you very much. That's what I'm thinking.
Thank you for your comment. I'll now hand over to the panel. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? Okay, to the panel to give their final remarks. It's been an interesting conversation, looking at critical minerals and smart mining, and the future of the digital economy. And if you could just give your final remarks on how, as a continent, Africa and African countries can really play a more important role in this ever-growing digital economy. And I'll start with you, Mr. Flagstaff.
So I think, how can Africa play a more prominent role in the digital economy? I think there's
via smart mining.
By smart mining. I think there's probably two aspects, and we've touched on it a couple components of it today already. And the first is to bring as much of that process, that downstream process back to Africa. So that's bringing the refining, the extraction, alloying, production as much as possible back to the African continent, and that has already begun by the introduction of some of these refineries, but there's still a larger room to grow. And I think the second place is it would be absolutely to turn Africa into the innovation center for minerals and mining. If we go and do the same thing that every other country did during their large industrial revolutions, we just heard a comment about greenhouse gas emissions, that will inevitably create more problems than what we're trying to solve by lots of the smart mining operations. So I think the second piece is when we bring things back, is to invest in newer technology that reduces those emissions, that does things in a smart way, so that Africa not only becomes the center for refining, mining, and I'll just say metallurgy overall, but it becomes the most efficient and the most economically sustainable place for that to happen. And I think what we'll find as well is not only does it become the place to bring that economically advantages the continent of Africa, but benefits the world from an environmental perspective as well.
Thank you. Over to you, Samujambere.
My point would be that I think we ought to invest in more human capital development, because we have the advantage that we have lower wages here compared to Europe and the US. So if we invest in human capital development, this will be, I think, in my opinion, a basis to attract these companies that are involved beyond the refining. Because after refining, you have to produce this semi-finished or finished products. I think I mentioned capacitors and magnets, which are involved again in the EVs, electric vehicles, and as he said, mobile phones and semiconductors. So my point would be to invest in human capital with the view of attracting these companies. And as Africa in general, we have vast wealth coming in already with the export of these ores. We've seen companies like Norway where they invest in sovereign wealth funds. So why can't we have a fund like that from the mineral proceeds? And that fund can be, for example, used to invest in companies and even attract some of these companies to come and have their operations here, their manufacturing operations. So thank you.
Thank you. Just a quick one, Eve. Would you say, in terms of investing in human capital, Rwanda is on the right track based on university students in geology, QT Global software? I don't know. I know you work with a lot of local talent. Is this something that you think is happening on the ground in Rwanda?
Yes. I believe there's been tremendous progress. As you mentioned, there's a lot of investment, whether it's in the mineral sciences, but even on the tech side, where I come from, we are recruiting a lot from the local market. There's good universities, but also beyond Rwanda, we also recruit from around Africa. And I don't speak here only for QT, but we have other companies like Irembo and involved in the tech sector that are recruiting actively on the local scene, but also in other African countries. And additionally, I will have to mention that we have a lot of business business companies that are coming in from Europe and from elsewhere looking for talent. Again, because talent is cheaper here, so they come here and there's a lot of people coming in and putting outfits here that are recruiting local talent, working on tech projects in Germany. I saw a German person, even in the US. So there's a lot of freelancing also happening, not only these companies, but engineers sitting here and working on projects in the Silicon Valley. So the talent, we have it. There's a lot of progress in building this talent, and I believe that with schools like Ames, we have Carnegie Mellon here in the country, and there's more that are going to come, I think, even in other countries, so we can develop this and even go beyond what we've achieved.
Thank you. Yes, just very quickly.
I just want to add to Eve's comment. I mean, I think that's probably the untold thing that we haven't necessarily talked too much about is like the cost of innovation inside of Europe and America is almost becoming unsustainable. It's if I go today and I get a grant, if I worked in a university and I got a grant from the U.S. government, and 60 to 65% of that money is going to go towards administrative costs of just operating the university because of how expensive those operations are. I don't know for a fact, but Rwanda doesn't have these kind of bloated, overly large overhead operations, and so any of those grants, programs that would exist inside of Europe, Asia, North America are going to go farther in Rwanda, not just because of the cost of human capital, but because the cost of innovation is lower. And if you have the talent pool and you invest in the talent pool that's here, that money goes further towards those things.
Correct. Yes, Professor, over to you.
Thank you. I want to touch on the word innovation. It has come up a number of times, and it's really key. And innovation is something that Africans have done for thousands of years. We've been transforming minerals for a very long time. I'll tell you something you probably don't know. In the 19th century, a technology for converting carbon into steel was patented in Europe, but similar and even better versions of that technology existed in Africa hundreds of years earlier. So in the Congo Basin, people had been developing really advanced technologies. And so if we promote innovation, so we just need to build the capacity of young people, introduce them to problems, interesting problems. They're going to produce things that are currently unimaginable. And as has been said, the cost of innovation has already risen to unsustainable levels elsewhere. People will be coming from elsewhere to get technologies from Africa that will be much more affordable. One example is AI, which we've been talking about. So-called large language models cost a lot to develop in the US. But you see the difference in costs when it came to developing DeepSeek. So by being very creative in engineering, in science, you can build really good technology at very low cost. So there is really an opportunity for Africa to lead in smart mining by building the technologies of the future, which others will come to take.
Thank you very much. Over to you.
Yeah.
Mr. Natoli.
I will try to continue what you said about innovation. People very often say me that we don't need to learn how to solve problems and how to innovate. We innovate anyway. We are doing something new. Our brain is built like this, that it is very easy for us to build something complicated. And it is very complicated to build something simple. Have a look on chips. When I started to work in Intel, we have 3 to 5 interconnection levels. Today, when I left Intel, we had 16 to 18. And I know what's happened the next. It will be 22, 25, because this is our brain is built like this. In order to log in, today you should prove that you are not animals, that you are you, and it's terrible. And it has no functions. So innovation, real innovation, is based on the problem solving. And this fantastic future that we are talking about, I think it's future of people that are educated not only in engineering science, not only in physics, chemistry, mathematics, material science, but also in problem solving. Because, what I learned from my very long life, when people cannot solve problem, they fight. And it could be between two people, it could be between two groups, it could be between companies, it could be between countries. I just want to explain you the value of knowing how to solve problem innovatively. So, thank you.
Thank you. Very, very interesting food for thought there. Please help me give this esteemed panel a big, big round of applause. Thank you. And I hope in the next few days we'll be having a more vibrant discussion with the audience. The audience today was a bit quiet. Let's hope the afternoon and the few coming days, vibrant discussion across, minerals for a smarter and greener future. My name is Diana Mpisi. It's been an honor to be your moderator, and I'll now call on to Jackie to please take the next steps. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's appreciate Diana for the wonderful moderation, and we appreciate all the panelists for their contribution. Dr. Anatoly, Eve, Samuel, and Professor Wilfred, we appreciate you so much. Thank you as you take your seats. I'll be giving you a few minutes break to go enjoy your lunch. That conversation, Diana said it, we expected the audience to be all psyched up and full of questions. What happened? What happened? Was it that team was very clear, eloquent, the explanation was fantastic, the language was easy to understand, or was the language too heavy? Or you guys were just not in the mood for questions? The language, eh? They're hungry. Are we hungry? Diana says we're hungry. Are we hungry? Okay, now that we're taking lunch, we're going out for lunch. When we come back, I hope we will do better and have questions. And it's day one, so we will let that pass. But for the rest of the days, let's make sure we are fully engaged. Let's ask those questions. It will be bad for you to take part in Rwanda Mining Week. Come sit in this room. There's a burning question, and you go back to your country with it. Let's not allow that to happen. So take notes and have those questions come through during Q&A. Lunch has been served. Please, let's take an hour for that. So I'm hoping to have you back here. It's now 1:24, so 2:25. If you can come in about 2:10, we'll be very happy. And then we can start our next panel discussion. This one was on powering AI, aerospace, and clean energy. In the afternoon, after lunch, we'll be talking about robotics for smart mining. Can we please clap for ourselves for being a wonderful audience? Thank you. Enjoy your lunch. Bon appetit. See you later.
Sakukuka satibega.